Hey guys, happy Thursday. Just chilling here with my good friend and mentor and accountability partner, Angela George. I met her on Lorelei Mariano's UPW mastermind. And since then, we've developed a great friendship where I could basically talk to her about anything. We lift each other up, we share our insights. She's introduced me to a lot of great experiences, whether it was meeting Jack Canfield, JT Fox, and even inspiring me and basically, you know, indirectly giving me the opportunity to speak with Gary Vee. So she's had a huge impact on my life. And everybody that I've been bringing on to interview or talk to live has had an incredible impact on my life. So Angela, you're one of those people. And it's funny, we were supposed to room together at UPW in, where the hell were we going? San Jose. Like we're always going somewhere. And
the Fairmont.
And unfortunately, it was canceled. And, it's funny, we had like dialogue the whole time throughout the beginning of this pandemic where Angela's like, are you sure you want to go? Like, it seems a little scary. And I was like, no, we're good. Up until like a couple days before, so from now on, I'm listening to everything you say because I trust your judgment. And I'm curious to how you've been handling this situation.
I just want to say one thing about that. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks for having me on. I just want to say one thing about that. That like a couple days before, like we were supposed to leave like on Tuesday or something. The Sunday before, I was at my brother-in-law's restaurant with his sister and her husband. Her husband is a doctor. He's a cardiologist in Long Island, in New York, where we're from, and it was funny because I was like saying, yeah, I don't know, this whole thing, what's happening in San Jose, and it's like a hot spot, and I remember, and they were both like, I would go, like the two of them, they're like, he's a doctor, and like, don't worry about it. It's people are just whatever, it's like people are making a big deal.
Funny, but nobody ever expected this. Except, you knew.
It was crazy. I was frantic. And when I spoke to you, it was funny because I was frantic and I'm just like, I was like listening. We were like editing my YouTube with Steven, my intern. And the whole time I'm like, the story was breaking and I'm on Twitter and I'm listening to this doctor and I'm like panicked and I'm like, and then I'm like, I don't want to get sick. Like, that's the other thing. I'm like, as we talk about Tony flu, and I'm like, I just don't want to get sick. So I'm like building up my immune system. I'm thinking I'm going to be around all these people, all this stuff. It was so funny. And anyway, so long story short, when I spoke to you, I was like, I didn't think I was going. And you're like, I'm packed. I'm ready to go. I can't wait to get out of here. You were just like, I'm out of here. And I just remember, and after I spoke to you, I actually decided, all right, I'm going to go. And so you actually convinced me.
It was painful unpacking that suitcase. I was like, damn it.
No, it was fun. I was relieved though. Honestly, hands to God, I was relieved because I was so torn about going. I knew in my heart, like I should not be going.
Yeah.
But I was like, am I giving in to the fear? It was a stressful time for sure. And then, but I was like, it was a big relief when they're like, it's canceled. I'm like,
yeah.
So I took my packed bags and I came out here to East Hampton.
Beautiful. And I saw that you are publishing an article on quarantine survival tips. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I got really into it. Well, I think there was like a flip switched for me, and I felt like I needed to be documenting and I needed to be in service immediately. Like I was like, this is huge, and this needs to be documented, this whole journey. And also, but I need to be in service. Like it's super important that I need to be a power of example and I need to be in service to other people. And that's when I started to write the article. Quarantine Hacks was the first one I wrote. I had one big one, which had 75 different tips. And then it was like so huge that I actually made it into two. I made one into quarantine hacks, this, ultimate stay-at-home guide for entrepreneurs. And then I just published yesterday the girlfriend's guide, the ultimate girlfriend's guide to staying at home. So I kind of separated into two buckets of things that you could be doing while you're in quarantine. And yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, actually tried to get them published, but I didn't hear back from like Huffington Post. But anyway, so they went on LinkedIn.
Can you share with us a couple of tools that you found most valuable?
I mean, one of the big things for me was really just to be in service, and what can I do to be giving at this time? And for me, how can I be a power of example? How can I be, there's different things that I did. I mean, I got very involved in the mask making effort in New York in the garment district. What happened was I'm part of this Google group, and I saw these emails flying about masks. This was early on. This was like 5 weeks ago almost. And so I saw all these emails in this group. There's a lot of people in this group. It's all like fashion people, costume designers, stylists, people that are doing like movies and Broadway and this and that. And they were all talking about the masks. And it seemed like they were kind of fractured emails going back and forth. So I created a Zoom appointment, and I said, everybody come on the Zoom and let's just like hash out all the ideas. And that's where I learned there was a lot of coalitions that had formed to make the masks. And I was instrumental in getting fabric donated from Mood Fabrics, which is the show that's on Project Runway. I know the owner, so I was instrumental in getting fabric donated and having some masks made in one of my factories, and also getting a mask pattern from my pattern maker that my pattern maker mailed it to my marker engrader. So then we could email the pattern to people. So I was very involved in that the first week. It was a stressful time, I have to be honest, because I'm like, we need the masks for the people, for the healthcare workers and all. And there's like and I have doctors who are friends, and they were telling me that there's shortages, like Memorial Sloan Kettering. My neighbor is a physician there. And then I have another friend who works at Rikers Island as a physician, and they were like, there's no we're short. Anyway, long story short, I was very involved in that effort early on. And also really just trying to create community. That's something that I've been trying to do, trying to create community, trying to give value. That's the biggest thing right now. It's about giving value. And I mean, that's kind of where my head is at right now. What can I do to give value? What can I do to be of service? And that's been really the overarching thing for me at this time.
Well, you have a beautiful heart and a boss ass mindset. So I know you have boss mindset, and then you have your fashion masterclass on YouTube. And Angela was a very successful fashion designer. She still is for 31 years in New York City. And now she's teaching those skills, which is just like she said, she's always in service, always positive, and she's an entrepreneur and a boss lady. So what's your favorite part of creating these groups and this information for people?
Well, I think, the thing about a year ago, I had taken the course, which was Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins' course of the Knowledge Business Blueprint, the KBB course. And that was when I first got exposed to the idea of my knowledge, that I could be giving my knowledge. I mean, theirs is actually giving it to, obviously to monetize at some point. And I haven't really gotten there yet. I'm really, at this point, I'm more about just, basically giving my knowledge away at this point. That's just where I'm at right now. But that was the first idea that I had something that I could offer the next, people coming up in business, in the fashion industry, or in business in general. That was where my eyes opened to the idea of knowledge being like a business. That being said, I haven't monetized on my knowledge. What I have done is, as you mentioned, the Fashion Masterclass. That's a YouTube channel that I started that basically teaches how to start a fashion brand and just teaches about jobs in the industry. This week we're going into a sewing factory. Last week we were in a cutting room. So really getting people to really see what's happening in the garment district in New York. We always made everything in New York, my brand Alice and Trixie. So that's what I've been doing with the Fashion Masterclass. And I guess, maybe down the road, was it maybe going to be consulting or this or that? that's possibly going to happen. I have a lot of interest right now, so I'm not really sure. And then the other thing was starting the Boss Mindset, which is a Facebook group with Alexia Maloki, she's a friend of mine that I met in a course, and we were taking the same class together, and we decided she's a Hollywood producer, and we decided to start the Facebook group, The Boss Mindset. And again, it's really more about, I think, the peer-to-peer mentoring is really what I really am into, because when I was coming up, like there were no mentors back then. Mentorship wasn't even really it wasn't even a thing so much. It's like I just had to do my own thing, and that's it. You know what I mean? I had to figure it out on my own. I learned it myself. I had a couple of good bosses that I learned stuff from in the retail side. But other than that, I started my business when I was in my 20s. So I was just boom, off to the races, doing my thing. And I was just kind of learning as I went. Yeah. So I didn't have that mentor, or even that, it's not even, or even just the peers. I was always saying it's lonely at the top. When you own a business and you don't have partners, it's lonely at the top. It's you, and you need to know what to do, and you need to know how to manage people, and you need to know how to lead the charge, and you need to. And I never had yes, I had a couple of friends that maybe had companies, and we talk from time to time. But what I really, the true nature of a mastermind is peer-to-peer mentoring. That was how masterminds were born back in whenever, Napoleon Hill talks about it in How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's basically that people, I will see the blind spot in your business, and you will see the blind spot in my business, and we can help one another. And that's really the true nature of mastermind. So that's what the Boss Mindset for me is to really today I'm going on at 12:30, and I'm actually interviewing Mike Lingle, who's a friend of mine he works with startups and stuff, and talking about pivoting business. And that's super important right now. One. Yeah. So you gotta come on for that. But Beautiful. Yeah, so that's the Boss Mindset.
So I have a question that just keeps screaming at me to ask you. So I know in Business Mastery, and I've heard a bunch of times, Tony Robbins, one of our mutual mentors, he always says that business is a spiritual game. And for you to be so successful for so long, how does that come in for you?
Wow. Interesting. I wish I could say that I employed all of that all the years, because I really didn't. It was a hustle, it was a hustle. It was I was very much into getting to the top. Not that I stepped on anybody's heads along the way, but I think the whole idea of business being a spiritual game right now, I think it's about for me, that speaks to integrity. And I guess I've always had that I've always had. I've never not had integrity. But I think business as a spiritual game is about having integrity. It's about giving value. It's about over delivering. And I guess if I think about it in those terms, I was leading a spiritual game all this time. Because it's a good question that you ask. Thanks for asking that.
Oh, thank you. And then I wanted, something else just came through, is that, so what can you relate to this new pivot that you have with everything going on to the beginning of building your enterprise?
Can you ask that a little differently? I'm not following.
So from when you started your business in your 20s, how how can you relate that to now? Is it the same, or now obviously you have all the experience, and what can you relate that to now with starting this new company?
I'm sorry. So if I was starting a business today, can you ask me again? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, so today, for example, you're going to talk about startups.
Okay. Yes.
What advice can you have, say, for me or anybody else starting out, since you've already had and started a successful business and now you're doing it again? Thank you. What tips or tools can you share with us?
Yeah, I would say, I think the thing is about it, consistency is key. Consistency is everything. Relentless consistency, I would say, is everything. I think, a lot of people today think a lot of people today, like they, like they talk about, like the 4-hour work week or, things like that's never, I've never subscribed to that. It's never been a 4-hour work week for me, but I think it is about having balance. I mean, when I was coming up, it's like you would work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And I don't think that I don't I think that it's yes, everybody talks about like life work balance. Like I remember interviewing people, even the last couple of years, and they'd come in and they'd be like, what's the life work balance here? What's the culture of the company? Like everybody wants the balance, everybody wants the balance today. So I think you can have the balance, but you can't have like you don't want to, you still need to work hard is my point. You still need to be consistent. And you need to work hard, and you need to work smart as well. And you need to work in an efficient manner. I think that's super important. And I think that, I mean, today it's a lot easier and it's a lot harder, I think, to start a business today. I think it's easier because you can promote things on social media. You can go on Facebook and do ads, and I think you can get out to the masses. It's a global economy, things like that. I think the hard part is that because there are so many outlets and there are so many people doing it, and you see what everybody's doing and you're like, oh my God, like everybody's doing the same thing. And how do I stand out in the crowd? And how do I, what makes me different? And I think that's the hard part of starting a business today, is that there is so much it's like, I think there was always competition when I was coming up, but it just wasn't in your face. Like now all the competition is like in your face. Open your phone, go on Instagram, go on Facebook, go on Twitter, go on whatever, TikTok, wherever the hell you're going. You're going to see your competition and what they're doing. And I think that, to me, I think the thing today about starting up is having blinders, is like putting blinders on. And it's okay to look and see what other people, it's like glance, they say look back. It's like look, but don't stare. Look, but don't stare. The thing is, you need to find your own voice, put your blinders on, decide what is true for you. It's okay to see what the competition is doing. It's okay to see who are your competitors, who's in the same space.
See who's the best, and then model that too.
Yeah. Or you can do that, but you still need to find your own voice within that, because you don't want to be like a knockoff of somebody. I mean, when you say model it, I mean, I think you can take from it, but don't copy. Like, it's okay to be inspired by, but don't copy what somebody's doing. You still have to put your blinders on and find your own voice. Go within and find your own voice. I think that's the hardest part amongst all the noise.
I really appreciate that advice, because sometimes a lot of people say, oh, go look at the 10 top people in whatever you want to do, and then just, try to model it. But I love that part, because that's a new thing, a new thought for me. And I've always, mostly, unless I'm really inspired, tried to just be authentically doing what's ever put in my heart. So I love that. You just clarified that for me.
I'm glad. No, but it's really important, because you don't want to be like a knockoff of somebody else. You just don't. It's okay to see what makes them, why they're successful, what makes them success. What you can be inspired by, but don't copy.
Beautiful. And is there anything else that you want to share with everybody?
I mean, I guess I just want to say that I hope, anybody who's listening is taking care of themselves and practicing self-care at this time. And, I mean, I think, look, I'm still in shock. I mean, I think we all are still in shock, like what we've been going through. I think, at this point with we're hearing the curve is flattening, and we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not an oncoming train. So, I think it's like, there's a little bit of, but it's going to be a bit of a time to really get back. And I still think, I guess, I think for me, the thing is, this was a time of, and it continues to be a time of really like going within, for me, I've been, the last 5 weeks has been a journey. I started writing about it actually last night. I started to write all my notes because I do want to write an article about what the journey was like, because going from this high anxiety state to, trying to stockpile stuff, incessantly ordering stuff on Amazon, or trying to order stuff on Amazon. You and I were talking. Did you go shopping? Did you get this? What's happening?
Lemon pepper.
How do you make lemon pepper? How do you make, how do you make hand sanitizer? Running around trying to find aloe gel. Meanwhile, I don't even use hand sanitizer.
Me either.
I was obsessed with finding it, but I wash my hands like 20 times an hour. So,
Sell it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think, but now it's been, I think what I've come to, or also like that's the thing, I think the pressure, there was a lot of pressure of like, I have this time, I need to crush in this time, everybody's home, the playing field's even, I need to rise above the pack and get my message out there and my business started, and I think there is something about that, but at the same time, it's like, I know for me, I was feeling a lot of pressure, like now's the time. And it's not the time to be pressuring myself. It's not the time to be stressing myself. It's really the time to be nurturing myself. It's really the time to be nurturing myself and kind of settling down. Like I've been in this very high state of alert, and I don't know if anybody can, understands that, but like being in this manic or high state of alert, like that's how I've been feeling. And like the last week I've been able to start to really decompress, clean out a closet, clean out a kitchen cabinet. I'm going to tackle my garage hopefully in the next couple of days, just really trying to settle in. Like I wasn't settled. I was very much like, and now I'm trying to settle in.
Beautiful. I love that you were able to shift to that, because that's definitely better for our health and mindset.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. Well, I appreciate you so much. You know how much I love you. And I think this went really well. And I hope that everyone out there found great value, because there's great value in everything that she shared with us. And that's all I got today.
I love you. I love you, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Can I see Chloe again? Where is she?
Absolutely. Here she is. Here's Chloe.
Chloe!
She's been having a good time. We've been going to the beach. She's been running along the beach. She's been having a good time. So yeah, just meditate.
Yeah, every day.
All right. Thanks again.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Talk soon. Ciao.